Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to welcome everybody to the Marksheffel Road South groundbreaking ceremony. I'm Jennifer Irvin, County Engineer, and this morning we're going to start with an invocation. So please join me if you would like to. Dear wise and loving Father, let me first say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health. Thank you for the need and to be able to fulfill our callings and for community partnerships. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. We thank you for providing adequate funding, competent professionals, and skilled laborers for the construction and the vision and support leaders. We appreciate that our participation in this project has increased our understanding of the needs of the community which we serve and the appreciation of and regard for each other. Lord, we give thanks for the success of this project. It is in your most blessed name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
And please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for being here today to help us celebrate the completion of the Marksheffel Road South project, bringing much-needed safety, mobility, and infrastructure improvements to this stretch of road. It is truly a connector to the communities in eastern El Paso County. This is a great example of how Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority has made significant impacts on our community and how elected officials, agency representatives, and our citizens can collaborate on critical multi-jurisdictional infrastructure projects that benefit our community and our region. The PPRTA logo includes the phrase, "Promises made, promises kept," and this is another great example of the success of this program and this project for our community. I'd like to introduce Mr. Jim Reed, Master of Ceremonies, the El Paso County Executive Director of Department of Public Works.
Okay, we have our schedules a little bit backwards. Dave Rose will speak after I introduce our dignitaries. I want to first start off by introducing Colonel Gary Korn from the 721st Mission Support Group. Welcome, Colonel Korn. And in the background, in his camouflage, because you can't see him, you have Colonel Robert Moose, who's going to replace Colonel Korn here shortly. So welcome, Colonel Moose. 21st Space Wing Civil Engineering Squadron, Mr. Daniel Rodriguez. El Paso County Pro Tem, El Paso County Vice Chair and Vice Chair of the Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, Commissioner Mark Waller. And we also have Commissioner and Board of Directors, PPRTA, Lojinos Gonzalez. And El Paso County Engineer, Jennifer Irvine. Oh, and Commissioner of El Paso County, Commissioner Peggy Littleton. Yay, your timing's impeccable.
Yeah, right.
And former County Commissioner Dennis Heisey, is he here? Okay, no. We'll go on to the City of Colorado Springs, City Council Member, President of the PPRTA, Councilman Merv Bennett. Councilman Andy Pico, and Councilman Tom Strand. City Fountain is the City Manager, Scott Traynor, here. Scott is not, nor is Todd Evans, I assume. Okay. The Highway Advisory Committee, President Tom Viersbaugh, Ed Dills, Cheryl Everett, Gene Meinzer, and Brian West. Welcome. The Pikes Peak Rural Transportation Authority, Miss Beverly Majewski, silent J, right? PPRTA Directors, Mr. Tyler Stevens. PPRTA Citizens Advisory Committee, Chair Jim Godfrey. Where's Jim at? Jim, can I get you to move up here to the seats, please? PPRTA Citizens Advisory Committee, Anthony Goa, Joan Lucia Treese, and Reb Williams. Before I introduce our speakers, I just have a few words. On a personal note, Marksheffel, I lived in Colorado Center for many years, and while I was active duty at Schriever Air Force Base, I drove that road every day for 4 years. And Marksheffel is the same road that I taught both of my boys how to drive their cars. And you guys have now taken all the fun curves out of it and made it safe. So, but I will tell you that it's a great tributary, has a lot of history, which Mr. Rose will talk about, and it has a lot of history for myself and my family. Let me introduce our first speaker, Commissioner Mark Waller.
Wow, thank you all for being here on this glorious Colorado day. I don't know if you realize how this works and why sometimes the weather's a little bit schizophrenic here in Colorado Springs and El Paso County, but here's the way it works. The county actually orders the weather 1 week, and then the city orders it on the alternating weeks. This is the county's week to order the weather, so that's why it's so nice. If you had some problems last week or perhaps the weekend before, you can blame that on the city guys. They're the ones that ordered that massive snowstorm, so that's kind of how the weather works here. Having said that, I got to tell you, I love to be able to come and celebrate these kinds of events because it shows progress, and it shows progress by what are truly the key functions of government. Transportation is one of those, and in particular, transportation infrastructure. This is such a great project because of all the local governments that came together to make this happen, and also because of the private sector industry as well coming together to help us out with this. I mean, think about this. This is a $32 million project paid for solely by local funds. That means local tax dollars raised right here in El Paso County. And those are local tax dollars that went into our RTA, something supported by the citizens of El Paso County, a 1-cent sales tax you pay every time you buy a good in Colorado Springs or in El Paso County. The RTA is made up of 5 member governments. It's made up of the city of Colorado Springs, El Paso County, Green Mountain Falls with Tyler Stevens. It's made up by folks from the city of Rama and also from the city of Manitou Springs. So this project doesn't get done unless those member governments agree to do it. And you might say to yourself, well, what does the town of Green Mountain Falls have to do with a project out here on the east side of town? You know what? They understand that this is our community, that this community encompasses all of us. And when we're successful on the east side of town, that makes us successful on the west side of town. And that's why this is such a great project. This is also a great project because it meets the other significant role of government, and that's enhancing the public safety. As Jim alluded to and kind of joked about a little bit, there are a lot of curves on this road in years past. You know, I also have a personal connection to Marksheffel as well. My wife drove this section of road every day on her way to Schriever for work until she retired from the Air Force just a few short months ago, and continues to this day to drive to Peterson Air Force Base for her new work. We've seen far too many accidents on this stretch of road, far too many accidents that impact not just the citizens of El Paso County, but also our military brethren that come and work here. And so that's why this project is such an important thing and an important necessary project that we come together and get done. Today's a day to celebrate. I encourage everybody to, take a turn just driving up and down the lanes here and enjoying it, and take the time to experience once again this absolutely beautiful weather that we have today, and experience the significant symbolism of the growth that this shows for our community moving forward. Thank you so much. I want my glasses back.
For a small fee, I can get them back to you. At this point, I'd like to introduce Councilman Murph Bennett.
Thank you. This is just another example of how working together we can get far more done than any of us can do working separately. And this is a great example of a multi-jurisdictional process. Like they said, the jurisdictional planning and design efforts were led by El Paso County on this Marksheffel South, but it also includes the city of Colorado Springs, the city of Fountain, Peterson Air Force Base and CDOT to be a part of this. We're getting very good at collaborating and working as partners together and doing a great job. We're doing a similar project. This is close to a $30 million project on West Colorado, which is on, that project is a partnership with El Paso County, Colorado Springs, and Manitou. And we're also doing a great work on Centennial Boulevard, which is being completely rebuilt. And all of these are A-list projects by PPRTA. Each year, if you don't know, we split the leadership of PPRTA. This year, it's the city's turn to be the chair. So I'm the chair and Mark is the vice chair. Next year, 2018, it goes back to the county being the chair and the city being the vice chair. And you know, it's just a great opportunity for us to get things done and do them well. This is a $32 million project, as you've heard, and this project started in December of 2015, and I guess the thing that shows the significance of this is that thanks to a great contractor, Wildcat Construction, and an outstanding CM firm of ACOM, this is coming in ahead of schedule. And I think that's something we should be very proud of. Next, the next thing we can expect, though, remember the name of this is Marksheffel South. Well, you can expect there is a Marksheffel North, and we'll have the same type of partnership, only this time the city will be responsible for that. So all of our city people that are here, they put the hard pressure on us because they've done an outstanding job, and we need to meet the challenge. So this is an exciting day. Just from a safety consideration alone, this was worth all the time and effort to do this. This is a great project. We also know that construction and development out in this part of town is being ramped up and doing very well. Right behind us, you can see our new water treatment station for the city of Colorado Springs and Colorado Springs Utilities. That was a major $250 million project. So great things are happening here on Marksheffel Road. Thank you for letting us be included, and I'll turn it back over to you.
Thank you, sir. At this point, I'd like to introduce Commissioner Lojinos Gonzalez.
Again, thank you for coming out today. This is just wonderful as part of the community, and that's what I kind of wanted to focus on was at the beginning and the end of my little 2 minutes here is, thanking the community, those people that came out before the project started, that worked hand in hand with all the entities that put this together. It was a tremendous amount of work and effort, public input to make sure that this was something that they could be proud of. In District 4, for the county that I represent on the south side is going to see great improvements on this, not just safety and infrastructure upgrades, but in terms of development, helping out access. I'm very proud of the fact that Mesa Ridge Parkway was going to have access directly to Marksheffel here in the near term, and that's going to improve our access, safety, and infrastructure needs for the south. So it's something I'm very happy with as well. I did want to include some bit of information in terms of how much work really went into this. The construction project extended over a 11-mile corridor. The contractor excavated almost 390,000 cubic yards of earth to build the road. Much of it was new or widened, and the cement treated 193,000 square yards of subgrade, placed 120,000 tons. Imagine that, 120,000 tons of aggregate base course, and placed approximately 94,000 tons of asphalt pavement to make this project a reality. So a lot of hard work. As I mentioned, I was going to end with, once again, thanking the community, because the county and the project team really would like to express our appreciation to the adjacent property owners, the residents, the commuters who put up with the impacts of construction and cooperated with the project team in dealing with road closures, detours, and instructions from the traffic monitors during all this time. And it was that patience and the input from the public and the community that really made this thing work. Once again, thank you all for coming out, and thank you again for this project. God bless.
And of course, we say the absolute best for last, Councilman Andy Pico.
Hello, Best.
Thank you. And thanks again for all coming out here. I'd like to correct one thing that was said earlier, that today's weather is ordered by the city's Colorado Springs Visitor and Conventions Bureau. Not But one nice advantage of coming in after the previous tremendous speakers is that my 27 minutes has already been covered, so it's about 2.7. So I just want to thank everybody again for coming out here. This is a vital project for all of us out here on the east side. This runs north to south, right through the middle of my district, District 6, on City Council. So it's a vital project. And those of us who also sit on the Pikes Peak Area Council or Governance Board of Directors have the larger region-wide plan in mind. And we all know that this is a vital link that provides for the expansion, economic development throughout the east side, as well as a critical access for Peterson Air Force Base, for Schriever Air Force Base, and making all those defense connections. And personally, I've been able to drive this every week for decades, and it's tremendous to watch the differences as it expanded, as we prepare for the future. As already mentioned, our water treatment plant just to the north of us and the expansion of that road in front of that. It has been a tremendous opportunity to watch this in progress and see that come to fruition. And we know we have a lot more work to go. As mentioned, Marksheffel North is coming up. Continue that expansion and take a look at 94, that expansion out to the east. So a lot of work, work in progress, and this is a tremendous milestone and tremendous accomplishment to have done. I thank you very much.
The most important thing you can give us is your time. And I just want to thank everyone for making it out today and giving us your time. It's a wonderful gift for a wonderful project. And speaking of time, Dave Rose is going to talk to you a little bit about the history of Marksheffel Road. Dave?
Thank you so much, Jim. Jennifer Irvin, our county engineer, asked me to look into this a little, and I realized that I had done this before back in 2000 when we were celebrating the millennium, and we did a series of television stories we called Millennium Moments. Local streets and highways get their names in a variety of ways. Most of us live in neighborhoods where street names follow some sort of theme established by the planners and land developers. Thank you, Randy. Almost every town has a main street. Many have a series of streets that carry the names of local trees: Elm Street, Pine Street, Poplar, Dogwood, etc. Some of my favorite local street names were created by two brothers in the development business in Colorado Springs. You may remember Bud and Bruce Shepard, who developed Village 7, where they gave the streets names like Carefree, Nevermind, Teeter-Totter Lane, and Whimsical Drive. Some of us live on farm-themed streets: Sodbuster, Milkhouse, and Wagon Master. Penrose Hospital sits at the corner of Jackson and Cascade. North from there, you will find other presidential streets: Harrison, Polk, Taylor, and Tyler. Union Boulevard, of course, recognizes the Union Printers' Home, built by the International Typographical Union, now at the intersection of Pikes Peak Avenue and Union Boulevard. Academy Boulevard obviously takes us to the United States Air Force Academy. Circle Drive is a at least partial circular belt line. Drennan Road, not far from where we're standing here today, was named for a prominent cattle rancher. Powers Boulevard carries the name of former Colorado State Senator Ray Powers, his family, and the Powers Dairy Farm. Burgess Road carries the name of early El Paso County homesteaders, the Burgess family, whose family cabin, by the way, still stands as a historic landmark on the grounds of the United States Air Force Academy. Ralph Janitel Road owned a sprawling 2,000-acre cattle ranch, etc. So what about Marksheffel Road? How did Marksheffel get its name? Well, first of all, it's not a mistake. The Highway Department did not leave out a space. It is not Marksheffel. It is Marksheffel. Marksheffel most likely recognizes a pioneer in the local automobile industry, specifically the Marksheffel Motor Company, and the uncle and nephew team who built it to be the largest automobile agency in the West for a time, and in fact, for a time, it was the largest public garage in the country. Albert and his nephew, Don Marksheffel. They sold and serviced Dodges and Cadillacs from a sprawling and ornate garage with a street-side showroom at Kiowa and Cascade, just north of where the Antlers Hotel is currently located today. As a personal note, as a youngster, I spent some time admiring new Dodges at that location because my uncle traveled all over the state on business, and he was in the habit of buying a new car from Marksheffel Motors every 3 years. My personal favorite was a 1958 Dodge Royal Lancer. It was a two-tone with a big Hemi engine, huge fins halfway from here to Peterson Air Force Base, and of course a push-button transmission. Albert Marksheffel moved here from Kansas in the early 1900s, about the time that cars began to share the muddy dirt roads with bicycles, horses, and wagons. He was in the bicycle business when he came here. He became a pioneer then in the local automobile business. Albert Marksheffel was briefly married to a wealthy doctor from Kansas who bought some land for a ranch near Spencer Penrose's Turkey Creek Ranch property south of here. Marksheffel Road provided access to that ranch property, and there's a pretty good argument that suggests that that's probably how it got named. Donald Marksheffel joined his uncle in the car business in 1935. He was away from the dealership during the distinguished service in the United States Navy in both World War II and Korea. When he returned from military service, Don Marksheffel became best known as an enthusiastic champion for public health. He served 19 years on the City-County Medical Board, now known as the El Paso County Board of Health. While serving as president of that board, health was such a passionate subject of his enthusiasm that he earned the name, at least unofficially, the nickname, as Mr. Health in El Paso County. Don Marksheffel passed in 1980, but I think it's safe to assume that as a champion of public health, he would greatly appreciate the many safety improvements that have been added here to Marksheffel Road. Thank you. Oh, let me bring up Dennis Barron was the lead El Paso County engineer and supervisor on this project, and he can tell you a little bit about what all went into making this happen.
Thanks, Dave. I'm Dennis Barron. I'm the project manager on this project, and I was fortunate enough to work with an excellent team of professionals to get this job done, and I'd like to recognize some of them. It takes hundreds of people, maybe more than that, a couple hundred people to build these jobs, so I can only recognize a few key people. But first of all, I'd like to recognize Wildcat Construction, who did an excellent job constructing this job. They were very flexible and responsive to our needs. Zane Stoltz over here is the project manager. Paul Sook is the vice president back there, and our man in the trenches every day was Eric Braun. So we really appreciate the effort that they put into it and the flexibility they provided to make it work. The weather helped a lot this year too, so it gave us an opportunity to finish the job sooner rather than later, and that was fortuitous. I don't know who provided the weather, whether it was Colorado Springs or El Paso County, but we thank you for that. We also had an excellent design team. It started off with Parsons Brinkerhoff was our design team. They're now called WSP. And Courtney Mead was the project manager on that. I don't know whether Courtney's here. Oh, there's Courtney there right in the front. So I'd like to acknowledge her and her staff. They did an excellent job providing things. They had an excellent sub-consultant, HDR Engineering, and Steve McQuilkin from HDR is also there. I can't even recognize people from this far away. But again, they provided all the design documents that we needed. We had some help. Randy mentioned Randy Case before, or Dave mentioned Randy Case. The new alignment of the road that you see going forward down there was built on property donated by Randy Case in Norwood, so we thank them very much for their contribution, and they provided some of the design through Classic Engineering on that. So we had an excellent team of professionals to work on this job. Construction management was overseen by AECom. Gary Heckman back there is the CM on site, and he had excellent help from Kleinfelder on the inspection area, and Joel Schott was his assistant out here on I don't know where Joel is, but I'd just like to recognize them because they're in the trenches every day, dealing with the contractor, dealing with the issues that come up. And my reference to Marksheffel, I did not have the history that Jim did in teaching his sons to drive out here. I'm a transplant from back east, and quite frankly, until I was assigned the Marksheffel job, I'm not sure I even drove the full length of it. But I figured I better figure out where it is. I know it better than I used to, but I had to become familiar with that. And the first time I drove it, I says, well, this is going to be an easy project because there's nothing out here. It's all prairie land, and there won't be any utilities to work. The property will be easy to get. Well, I was wrong. There were so many utilities out here that we had to relocate that all these jobs become a major utility relocating. I think we worked with over 15 utility companies, some of them that had major relocations to do. Others were just conflicts that we had to resolve as we went forward, but it all needs to come together to make it work. So I appreciate the support from all the utility companies as well as the professional team that we had. So I don't want to take any more time. I probably missed somebody. We had some planning from the city. Tim Roberts worked with us on the planning. I'd like to recognize Glenn Meskey with Peterson Air Force Base. He was our liaison there and worked with us. Sometimes he even got to close the gate down so we could do the construction in front of their gate, and that helped out a lot. And I appreciate all the residents and commuters that worked with us, put up with all our detours and road closures and flaggers and lane shifts and all the hassle that we put them through. I think they have a better product now, but I do appreciate their patience and understanding as we move forward. And I guess now we'll cut the ribbon.
Yes.
And I hope I didn't miss anybody. I did it extemporaneously rather than off note, so I apologize if I missed anybody.
No, you did great. Okay, so we'll let the media folks go ahead on down to the ribbon. The ribbon cutting is just down the way. This is the moment you've all been waiting for, right? Yeah. You follow Jennifer. If I could get you folks to follow Jennifer out there, and anybody else who wants to participate, please come on down. Okay. 1.